Isn't it amazing how when we get out and pursue the things that we're passionate about, some amazing things happen in our life?
Join us today for the amazing and inspiring story of how just getting out there and traveling as a family
helped me get my dream job.
What I said. Go away.
Go away, never come back.
We told him to go away. And away he goes, precious.
Hi everyone, welcome to Learning Brave. I'm Skylar.
And I'm Ross.
Today we are doing something a bit different. Today we are telling a story about one of the paths that travel has taken us in our life. And that is Ross's work.
My career path, really. Okay, if you've watched some of our previous YouTube episodes, you'll know a bit of the backstory about how I changed my career at age 38. And one of the biggest things that I had to decide was, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I still have 5 children and I need to care for them and support them. And so that was like huge stress and pressure for me. But before leaving Australia, one thing that I really sort of was focused on was that I loved working with teenagers, I loved working with youth, and I really wanted to do that. And so I enrolled in a teaching degree.
Well, you're forgetting one thing.
What?
You also love travel.
Yes.
So we wanted to travel
and work with
youth. Yeah.
So I didn't quite know at that time how that would play out. They were just my passions. I hoped that the world would give me something to enable that to happen. So I took the first step, which was enrolled in a university degree to get my teaching degree.
Yeah, you were meant to be working, he was meant to be studying online as we traveled through Europe.
It lasted like a couple of weeks.
It's a terrible idea. It was like 5 little kids, a really small baby. We were overwhelmed with traveling in that kind of way. That was new for us. No, we were completely consumed with basics. Our whole life became about what are we going to eat, where are we going to sleep, and what are we doing each day with all these kids.
I myself was reasoning, thinking, well, I'm not working anymore, so surely I'll have time to do some study. What I didn't take into account was, now that I wasn't working anymore, I was full-time parenting. And after 12, 15 years of working in the workforce, I probably didn't quite understand how much time that took. So my hat goes off to all of you wonderful women out there that are working and child rearing. It's amazing.
So before you started studying, we were in... where were we?
Ercolano. Which is Herculaneum.
Yes. We were near Naples because we wanted to see Pompeii.
Yeah, Pompeii,
and
Mount Vesuvius.
Pizza. So we were there and we were staying in the worst accommodation we've ever stayed in. It was the ghetto, man. It was awful.
It looks uncomfortable. It's actually fine. I'm good.
And I was lying in bed, scrolling through Facebook, not being very productive. But a chance encounter changed our lives. So I am part of a lot of world schooling Facebook groups, and just by chance, at the time that I checked, I saw that there were 2 families in the area with kids who were world schooling. And I kind of messaged them and I said, can we meet up? We'd love to see some other families, because of course our kids didn't really believe that other people lived like we did.
Yeah, we had to find others just to prove that we were not freaks.
We were traveling before Italy. We'd been in Eastern Europe, Serbia and Hungary, and we just hadn't met any other world schoolers. And we're other families do this, and our kids are sure, whatever.
Quick, find some.
So we found some, and we are organised to meet for a play date at Mount Vesuvius.
On the top of Mount Vesuvius.
No, we were meant to meet at the bottom.
That's true. But we're late. We're always
late. If you are our friends, you already know this. I'm sorry, but it's true. So we're always late. It's me. Yeah. We were late, so we didn't meet them in the car park. We met them like on the top or halfway up Mount
Halfway up.
Vesuvius. And that
But
meeting...
can I just stop for a second? Just listen to that. Think about that, all you future world schoolers. We met some families for a play date on the top of Mount Vesuvius. Now, how often do you get to say that?
It's a fun thing to
It's
say.
pretty fun, right? It's pretty awesome.
And that meeting changed our lives.
It did absolutely change the course of our lives because there were two families we met, and both of the husbands and also one of the wives worked for an online leadership school called Williamsburg Learning.
And we were, as we've talked about before, in this new kind of like open frame of mind where we wanted to know all about different kinds of education. And this was a new one that we'd never heard about before.
Never
We
heard
were
of it.
like,
Tell me about it.
wow, yeah.
Now, one of the husbands had worked in public school in the United States for many years, and had voluntarily or wanted to get out of that and work in this sort of online environment. And I was intrigued because one of the things for me is connection. I want to be able to connect with the student. I mean, that's the reason I wanted to be a teacher, is so that I could build relationships and to be able to mentor them.
Yeah, and it seemed like online schooling would provide less connection.
Absolutely.
But the guys we met were saying the opposite.
Yeah.
They were saying that they were totally connected and engaged with their kids. And,
And
we were like,
in fact, there were more students in the classroom engaged in the conversation happening than there would be in a traditional school setting. And I was like, what? This is amazing.
well, explain how.
Well, because on an online setting, you have lots of different mediums of engagement. It's not just spoken. There's also the chat where you get to write. There's also get to do private chatting amongst each other. There's a board that they can write on, and then they can just share their thoughts as well. And
So we learnt about this. We went back and visited them because we didn't want to go back to like the ghetto apartment we were staying in.
Yeah.
So we followed them home, and they showed us how they teach in these like live, interactive kind of inspiring classes about
Yeah.
science and leadership. And we were just like, wow.
And to make things even better, here they were with their families while teaching full-time school online, visiting Italy. And they didn't, because of time zone changes, they didn't start until 4:00 in the afternoon. And I was like, I get to connect with teenagers and I get to travel. This is amazing.
And the kids could study while they were traveling. So we were really, really intrigued.
Yeah, and
But-
and also on top of that, the other cool thing that I really loved about it is that there was opportunities for you regularly, throughout the year to actually go to some camps that they run.
You need to say who you is, the kids?
Yeah,
The students?
No, for the students and the mentors to be able to go and meet together at some of these camps.
And they also sometimes went on international trips, and they did all this, like, they got together when they could, and then the online classes were super engaging.
Yeah.
So we were like, this is really cool.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
So we had this experience, we learned about it, and we were really interested. Then we went home, and Ross continued to study and to get his teaching degree.
Yeah, during that experience of getting my teaching degree, I was taught for 3 months at a traditional school. And it was a wonderful school, and there were wonderful teachers there. But one thing that I learned straight up is that I wasn't going to get that one-on-one personal connection with students in that environment. There were too many rules. I wasn't able to, I got in trouble for touching one of the students' shoulder, just all these things. And I was like, this is going to be really hard for me to connect with the way that I want to in this environment.
And like curriculum. There was so
Curriculum's
much-
very structured curriculum. I couldn't go outside of that. And I guess for me personally, I wanted to be able to adapt it for the individual students and really, connect with them and mentor them individually. And so it was after that I had a great time doing that. Got my degree and was asked to stay and work there. But we just felt this pull to keep searching for something that was going to come. And thankfully it did.
Well, actually, initially we thought I particularly dreamed about living in the Middle East. So we were like, let's do that first. then we'll see if we could make Williamsburg Academy part of your career.
Yeah, I think I always knew that I was going to end up working for a school like that, but there were some things that we just had some dreams that we wanted to just play out.
We just decided to go for the Middle East. We went there and we're like, we'll find a job, we'll live there for a couple of years, and then we'll go see if we could make Williamsburg part of our life.
Yeah.
But our plan failed.
It did.
And it was crushing. It was crushing for me. I really wanted to live in the Middle East. And so we had to come up with plan B.
And like always, I think when you go through some of these really difficult times where the path that you thought you were on, the door that you thought you wanted to open up and go through doesn't work, and that door's shut to you, I think because of our exposure during our Europe trip and being able to just be open to different ideas, we were open to the fact that maybe there's just other paths out there for us. And so we decided now is the time. Let's just 100% go in. We moved to Mexico, so we're in the time zone needed to be able to apply for American teaching jobs. And thankfully, over the course of a couple of months, I was hired at Williamsburg Learning. And honestly, that was like the start of just this amazing last 2 years of our life, where not only me personally and in my career, but also our children who have been involved in it, it's been like revolutionary.
Vive la révolution! Vive la révolution!
For our education life, for me as a person, it's just been a really amazing experience for us.
Yeah, like before Ross got the position as a mentor for Williamsburg, you did some like English teaching, you tried to find a teaching job in Mexico. We were kind of like looking for anything, just holding off till you could hopefully get this dream job. And now you work for them. And the cool thing about it is that the teachers are not teachers, they're mentors. So the idea is that they're mentoring the kids to take ownership of their own learning. And that was one thing that really impressed me. I really wanted that for my kids. I really wanted them to feel responsible for learning themselves rather than kind of like being entertained or force-fed.
Yeah, one of the slogans of the school is that we don't teach the children, we don't teach the students what to think. We teach them how to think. And so our role is just a guiding role where we enable students to be really independent in their thought and independent in how they love to learn rather than you must do this, you must do this. And so it's actually been a joy for me to teach. One of the biggest issues that I had back in my teacher training was all about discipline of students, managing behavior. Honestly, in 2 years of teaching over 450 students over 2 years, maybe once, possibly twice, have I ever had to manage the behavior of a student. It's been incredible. The students are amazing.
And our teenagers are able to learn and engage in education and in a classroom environment without any bullying and peer pressure. They never feel that. I'm sure they'll experience lots of difficult things in life, but at least for their education, they get to feel empowered and encouraged, and I love that. And now that we're kind of in this field, we've found that there's actually quite a few schools that offer this kind of education. Online education is awesome. There's some great stuff. There's some And
I think also in this post-COVID-19 sort of world that we're living in, I think people are starting to think outside the box a bit more. We've been forced to think outside the box because so many schools around the world have been shut, traditional schools.
Yeah.
And so I remember saying to my students who thought that they were sort of a bit unique and a bit weird that they would do school online, I said, hey guys, you guys are like the pioneers because so many others are going to be a part of this online school revolution.
The revolution has begun.
So we wouldn't ever have guessed that we're living this life now like 5 years ago.
It's just amazing. And I'm a really firm believer through just these sort of experiences that we've shared today, that if you are passionate about something and then you are brave enough to take action and get on that path, that doors open up to you that you never thought possible.
We took a chance and we were brave and we're just seeing what came. This amazing opportunity.
Completely changed the course of our lives.
Thanks for joining us everyone today, guys. If you have any questions or if you have a story of an amazing time in your life when like a chance encounter has changed everything, or if like how going for your dreams, you know, if you have a story about that, please share it. We would love to hear about it.
And if you have any questions about Williamsburg learning, then please put it in the comments. I'm happy to.
No, check the links below. We will
Yeah.
put everything down there. Okay, thanks everyone. We will see you next time.
See ya. Bye.
What can happen in your life when you just take a big leap and step out into the unknown?
Into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
I feel like that was my cue, but I couldn't sing that well.